Hi everyone, this is the National Master Asano Santagati, and in this video we'll see a specific position about the Endgames. In this particular position that we can see in the board, the white has a very important pawn b7, but black knight can take the square b8. And when we have this specific position, when the black knight on b8, this game would be a draw, because for white it would be impossible to make progress. And in fact, if we see this position and if I play, for example, king a7, nothing to do because I can simply go c6 check, white has to go back, and I go back to b8. And if you go on c7, I can go on a6 check again, and if king c8, this move doesn't help because after that I can move the king easily, and the knight can block the promotion. If I go back, the knight will go on b8, and again, nothing to do. So in this particular position, black can draw easily with this easy maneuver. So this position for sure will be a draw. Now we can see a similar position in which the knight is not on b8. For example, in this position, the knight is on e5, and the white king is on b8. In general, with this specific position, if the black knight can take the square b8, it will be a draw. If this is impossible, white can win. For example, in this case, at the hand, the white can win because maybe black can try to play knight e7 to block the pawn. This is check, so now white has to move the king. And for sure, the white to attack the knight, and at the same time, try to push the pawn b8 down, but there are two moves in theory to do that, c8 or c7. One would be a victory for white, one would be a draw. If white would play king c7, the game would be a draw because black has this nice idea, knight c5, now the black is attacking the pawn, and after the queen, I can simply make a fork, and I can draw in this way. So king c7 doesn't work for this reason, but it's fine king c8. Because after that, the king is attacking the pawn, is attacking the knight, and now the knight has to go away. But if the knight go away, for example e5, I can take the queen. So in this case, white can win. For this reason, it's first for black, make a check. So knight b6, and I go with the king to c7. Now, it's impossible card b8, so the only move is the check again. The main problem about this position for black is that after king c6, the black can choose only two checks, or knight b4 or knight e7, but in both the squares, white will win easily, because if you play knight b4, now I go king b5, and now I'm attacking the knight, and I'm blocking all the squares in which the knight can cover b8, and this game now is lost, because white will promote and white will win. So it's very interesting, but the same idea with the knight e7, king d7, and again, knight under attack, and it will be impossible to block this pawn, and now the black is without checks. Very good. So in this position, it's very important to understand if the knight can go or not to b8, because if the knight can go to b8, the black will draw. If it's impossible, the white can play to win. And okay, I said about knight e7, maybe we can try knight c6, but it will be the same thing, because now I play immediately king c7, and after that the only move is knight b4. The idea is that if the white take the queen immediately, there is knight a6, and so there is the fork and black can draw, but white can avoid that with king b6. And now again, the only move is the check, the only check is knight d5, now king c6, and we go in the same position that I showed you before, in which if the knight will go to b4, I will go king b5, if the knight will go on e7, I will go king d7, and the white will win. So it's very important to understand if the knight can go to b8 or not in this kind of position. If the pawn is not the big pawn, but is another pawn, for example, the pawn C or D is different. It's different because black can play knight f7, and when there is king e8, it's possible for black play check and go in the other side. But okay, we know that with knight f7, black can draw with this maneuver. The question is, knight e6 is still a draw? Probably no, because if you play knight e6, I can play king e7, and then it's impossible to cover this square, and the only move is knight e4 to try a fork. But in this case, king d6, and now there is the same topic, because if check here, I will go on e6, and if you play the check or on d4 or on g7, I can simply block the two squares and the white will win. So for example, in this position, yes, this position is a draw, but you must pay attention, because if you go on e6, you lose the game. If you go on f7, the game will be a draw. For this video is all. Thank you for the attention. See you for the next. Bye. Remember to follow me on social networks and share the video with your friends. Thanks.